Okay, perfect. I must have not been on my thing. Well, let me say one thing. You're not going to get the sermon that Alan's brother's preaching. So put on your seatbelt. It ain't going to be that. You know, what I want to say is Easter is really not a Christian event.
Nope.
Easter is a cosmic event. It's happening to the whole world simultaneously. You know, we look at these things like Christmas and Easter, and we think that they're all about one person 2,000 years ago, when it's really about the whole of humanity. And that's what we're really waking up to. It's here, it's this cosmic event that reoccurs annually, so that we can really understand the purpose of life on this planet. You know, I said in the prayer, the heavens declare the glory of God. And in Genesis it said he put those lights up in the heaven for signs and symbols, because they're there teaching us something. Not only what's happening outside, but they're teaching us what's happening inside each and every one of us. It's here to answer the question, the age-old question, why are we here? You know, humans have asked that down through the ages. Why are we here? And all the time, these seasons and the heavens are declaring that. And the word Easter, first of all, let me tell you, the word Easter is not even in the Bible. It has been redone from the word Passover, Pascha. It's in one time in the King James, I think it's only in the King James Version, and the word really is Pascha, which is Passover. So Easter comes from pagan goddesses, who were all goddesses of spring, Ostar, Ishtar, they were goddesses of spring. And what happened was, when Catholicism took over and they wanted the pagans to come in, they said, let's adopt some of these ceremonies, you know, these pagan ceremonies. My thing is going up here. Some of these pagan ceremonies, so we can get the pagans to come in. But what they didn't know, but there's always a divine plan. And that divine plan is that you and I, and people around the world, whether they understand it or not, would be celebrating this time of year. Just like Christmas. They don't understand the full implication of what this is all about. But here we are, thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, all the ancient cultures celebrated this time of year. And so what we've done is just put a different connotation on it, but we're still celebrating it. So it's really profound. So the story of Ostar, let me just tell it to you. When Ostar first came to the earth, at the very beginning of creation of the world, she noted that everything was dark and cold. And then she also noted that everything had been put to sleep. But she also knew and began to have this realization that she was here to wake it up. And guess what you're here to do today? You're here to wake it up. That's exactly, we're seeing a world in darkness. And instead of saying that it's really in darkness, what it's been done has been put to sleep. You know, we read, and many of us that came out of Christianity, we read in Genesis that Adam was put to sleep. And there is nowhere in the Bible that he is awakened. Because it says, awake, O Israel. It just keeps talking about awakening. But then Christ went into that tomb as that seed of humanity, pushed away that stone, and was awakened from that cosmic sleep that all of us have been put in. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But she also was there to wake us up. And so she had that realization. And this time of year, we call Easter, holds the esoteric hidden story of the awakening of all life. And we walk through it every year, all of the seasons. As those of you that have been coming to the full moon, Kim is so good at that. We talk about the power of each and every season and how it really is all about the cycles of what humanity is going through. So Easter is one of those reoccurring cosmic events that unveils our life purpose, but it also unveils the purpose of all life, everywhere. It's not a religion. It's not about Buddhist, Hindu, Christian. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with humanity, everything to do with why we draw breath, everything to do with why we said, yes, we'll come and descend in these tombs, these earthen bodies, so that we can reawaken to who we really are. So it's pictured, and it's this whole drama is pictured by the sun as it is released, its energy in the earth in the fall, and has this mystical birth at Christmas, and it performs its magic by impregnating the earth from autumn to spring, and then liberates itself from the cross of matter and ascends again to the throne of the Father. So the whole cycle is all about you. It's all about us, with that seed within us, which we're going to talk about. And this day is a day of liberation. You know, we don't live up north. where you came from, where the snow has made everything kept it in the dark earth. But as the spring comes and the sun comes, those things, those seeds in the earth begin to press through and come back to rebirth and new life. And that really is what we're talking about. And we've all heard, and I don't know if you know this, but the Emerald Tablets is where this statement was first made. We attribute it to so many things, but it says, as above, so below. And the Emerald Tablets are thousands of years older than the Bible. As above, so below. So this process, which takes place on the earth, also takes place on a smaller scale within every single one of us. What did the ancient mystery schools say? Know thyself. When we know nature, we know ourselves, we begin to know our Godhead, that divinity within us. And Jesus and others came to reenact this cosmic cycle. Jesus was not the first one to do this. We were learning that. When we talk about Christmas, we talk about 16 other, God-men that were born on December 25th, because it's a time of the year. It's that sacred time of the year where the sun stands still for 3 days and 3 nights. And it looks like it has a death. It has that crucifixion just like the spring. And then it's resurrected and it goes up higher into the heavens, which is really a picture of higher consciousness. So Jesus and others came to reenact this. And as mystic teachers, this week pictures the culmination of his suffering, and that he rose out of the prison of matter as the sun was crucified on the equator. Because what happens at this time of year? The cross has nothing to do with religion either. Nothing. It goes way back to Egypt. But before that, it's about the crucifixion of that sun, which is the crucifixion of the sun, S-U-N, just as we talk about the crucifixion of the sun, S-O-N, on the equator at this time of year. It's a picture for us. And I'm going to talk about the cross a little bit more. But at that spring equinox, the sun crosses and is crucified on the equator. And Christ on the cross said, what did he say? It is finished. In other words, it is accomplished. So what it's telling us at this time of the year is the end of the story, which you were talking about. The end of the story is it's all going to be accomplished in every one of our lives. Because this is the whole heavens. All of the heavens are telling us our story. Each season is telling us our story. And in this season, it's the time of liberation, where those little seeds no longer are blocked in the earth, but begin to have rebirth and are liberated from that darkness. And that's what's happening to us. So this tells the story of humanity. And it gives us hope to know that it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. Because there is a plan happening on planet Earth that is not going to be disturbed. And all the conspiracy theories, all the things that are happening, all that, yes, is taking place, but there's a greater energy that is using all of that for our higher good. Every single part of it for our higher good. So it's a time of, this is the hour of liberation. When he said that from the cross, what a picture. It was a picture of triumph. It is finished. It is accomplished. Can we see that cross, the horizontal bar is the balance of we can explain it many ways, but it's the balance of the male and female. And then the top is divinity coming down, and the bottom is mankind coming up. And where do they meet? They meet at that crucifixion, that place where it is finished, where we are fully God. And that's what this plan is all about. You are eternal, immortal. You didn't come really, your mama and daddy. You came way before that. We have been lifetime after lifetime learning these lessons. And nature is really just a small part of what shows us what we're all about. So it's that meeting point of the cross, where both imprisoned, and what I was thinking about the 2 crosses this morning, because they're going to be talking about those. I'm sure Alan's brother's going to be talking about the 2 thieves on either side of the Christ. What is that picture? What really steals from us? Our mind and our body. But in the midst of our mind and our body is always that Christ, that spark, that divine light, that energy that's drawing us inward. And he said to the one, he said, today you'll be in paradise with me, because that paradise is within us. When we overcome both that mind, which Miles is talking about, how we really understand that the mind is not, it's that internal part of us, we really begin to wake up to that divinity. So nature is an expression of the divine cycles and principles. And life is a school. You know, so many of us, I've talked to so many of us right now that are being called back to nature. It's like you have this calling to go into the woods, or this calling to go to the beach, because it's awakening something in us. It has that energy that is really awakening something in us, because it has that divine principle. Where in every manifestation, as we're in life school, every single manifestation in this realm is here to teach us a lesson. Every single thing. It says the invisible things of God, or divinity, you, can be clearly seen by the things that are made. So if you really want to know about divinity, it's by the things that are outside of us we can look back in and see. Do you know that in mystery schools they used to hang the human body up? And they taught about divinity through the human body, because you know the way our organs are spaced and all of that, it goes right along with the heavens too, and how the planets are spaced and all of that. We are created in the image of all of these things so that we can really learn. And it's here to enable us to evolve from a divine spark to awaken to fully being God. And that's what Jesus pictured, and all of the masters pictured, about fully awakening to be God. So in this time of the year, the sun is infusing both the earth, but it's also infusing us with its most vertical rays at this time of the year, which cause seeds to grow. You know, this is the time of the year we see seeds coming out of that darkness, trees to bloom, the birds to begin to mate and to build nests. And man is being infused with a new energy of rebirth and spiritual growth at this time. You know, we feel something. When we go into the dark of the winter, it reminds us that we need to go deep within ourselves. But when we come into the springtime, we begin to feel that new birth, that new life. And it does something, it fuses that energy within us, like Pam was saying this morning, of a new beginning. Easter pictured the annual liberation of the cosmic Christ, or divine spark within you. This is a celebration of who we are. That we, as we push away that stone, and I'm going to get to that, are going to be liberated to be fully God and know who we are. So this is a day that we celebrate. And we wonder, how has Easter come? How has this time of year come down all through these millennia after millennia? Because it's a purpose that we're celebrating it today. It wasn't lost because we're here to get the full meaning of what it's really all about. So man is being infused with these new energies. And Easter pictures that liberation of the cosmic cross. From the confines of the earth are these earthen vessels. And the ascension into the spiritual body. You know, life is all about alchemy. And it's all about turning matter back into spirit. And that's really what's happening to us, is our bodies are really going through an alchemy to turn this matter back into spirit. You know, it says, yea, though we walk through the shadow of death. Now, is your shadow real reality? No. When you have a shadow behind you, that's not you. That's just a shadow of who you are. And that's what death is. It's not the reality. Do you know in Aramaic there's no word for death? Only life. Because in reality we never die. We only transcend to another realm. There is no death. So the ascension of these spiritual bodies, breaking out of the cocoon. Do you know the cocoon of the butterfly or the caterpillar is made of its own saliva? Did you know that? It makes that cocoon itself. And we too have made this cocoon we call Earth in 3 dimensions. And we too are here to break out. And you know, if you cut a cocoon before the butterfly is ready and try to release it, what happens to the butterfly? It dies. And each one of us are on this journey on our own. I remember I had a friend, Floyd, and he was such a mentor to me when I was in religion, and really kind of gave me the boost to go out and spread my wings. And I was meeting all these new age people, and they would come in and talk about Isis and Pisces and all of this stuff, and I'd say, oh, don't talk about that over here because everybody will fly out of here, as Kath knows. We couldn't put astrology cards, we couldn't put any of that stuff at this time. But he kind of gave me the boost. And as he was transitioning between realms, I said, Floyd, don't go. You know, we all need you. And he said, Mary Lou, everybody is on this journey on their own. You'll go on. And that is so true. We are all on this journey. We can't look to anybody else to help us break out of that cocoon. It's always up to each and every one of us and what we're doing, what we want. So that caterpillar comes out as a completely transformed being. The DNA of a caterpillar and a butterfly are totally different. Scientists can't even explain what happens in that cosmic soup when it really changes, but it's totally transformed completely. And we too have built our own cocoon of flesh and matter, desires and vices. And we're here to break out of that cocoon. And when we come out with wings, it symbolizes our liberty, that we are no longer just earthbound, but we have the potential of the whole cosmos. And that's what and I heard last week that Reba, she just said when I was away she was going to talk about the fairies. But I believe in fairies too. So she has nothing on me. I'm right there with her. But I so appreciate it. I know everybody enjoyed Reba last week. I heard how good it was. So, but that's the whole thing. We are so connected to all of the elemental spirits and somebody with Kim was talking about, how connected to the trees and the flowers, and we begin to commune with those things. Easter is really about that liberation where we realize that oneness. So Easter brings a realization that all humanity are pilgrims on the earth. We talk about aliens, but hello aliens. You think you're from the earth? No, we're all from other dimensions. We're just here on this Mother Earth is allowing us to come to school. You've come to Earth School, and you're here to learn that our real home of spirit is in the heavens of the higher realms. And we're here to learn the lessons of this life school. And the quicker we learn those lessons, instead of like the Israelites going around, it was a 2-week journey for the Israelites to go from Egypt to the Promised Land. And it took them how long? 40 years, because they kept going around and learning the same lessons over and over again. So we're in a time the lessons are coming quicker. How many of your lessons are coming quicker? I know mine are. It's like you get one lesson and say, boy, I've done it. And then the next one is coming, because we're really being propelled right now to really understand and learn. We've gone to college. We're in college. Some of them are still in, like kindergarten right now. We can help those and support those and love them, but you can't do it for anybody else. But when we learn our lessons of these life girls, so we can enter the dawn of a new day that will permanently release us from the bondage of these bodies. And that's the whole thing. You have had lifetime after lifetime where you have learned lessons and lessons, but there is a day of liberation coming where we don't come back again in these bodies, where we are fully liberated. And that's what Easter really symbolizes too. The end of this karmic cycle, that we are coming back to learn these lessons. All of the signs, they always say Pisces are the older souls that have come back so many times. But there's coming I really believe Easter is about that time where we permanently release ourselves from the bondage of the flesh. Just like these earth and cosmic cycles, we too have been cycling through bodies. Man is a miniature of nature. Buddha held up a lily and didn't even preach. The whole thing is in nature. Everything is in nature. Everything that takes place on a planet like Earth takes place in the course of human history, in the course of our body, in the course of everything that's happening. We all came from a realm of celestial light. We are all light beings. The only reason we can see each other right now is because we put that light in these dense bodies. And so these dense bodies, we can recognize each other. But that light, we all came from celestial light. And I just had an experience recently where I saw my son, who was my third child. It was kind of like a dream, but I saw my son being beamed into his body. And I tell you, it was the most real thing. And I know that that is so true. Well, we all came from this celestial light where we existed in freedom, with no limitations of time and space, where we vibrated in this infinite harmony with all the spheres. It was there we agreed, said, yeah, we'll come down. Remember that? When you said, yeah, I'll come down, I'll put on a body, I'll come down and come into this limited three-dimensional world so that I can wake up and experience God in a greater and greater way. Well, we're where our spiritual sight was obscured, and we've experienced a phase of limitation. But within us, how many of you within you know that there's a place within you that's limitless? It holds that divine spark. You know that. We're waking up to that. But we are, and because we are multi-dimensional beings, we live on many levels of consciousness simultaneously. And when we were studying Seth, Miles, I remember we talked about the multidimensionality, and how many of you experienced that? You can be in one place, but you begin to experience all of these other dimensions because we are that. And this time of year pictures the liberation of that divine seed in man, where we can attune ourselves to this great cosmic event. You know, if you really understand what's happening, and in your meditation, just begin to attune yourself to the energies that are coming into this realm at this time, and really connect with this cosmic event. It brings those energies, meets those energies, helps you to ascend and really tap into that unconsciousness that holds all of this. It's a time to rejoice as we see so clearly this cosmic event, the purpose of man to rebirth our own divinity out of dense matter, and that's what you're here to do. You know, I've always said it's kind of like when the astronauts go to the moon. In order to go to the moon, they have to put on an Earth suit so that they can, you know, survive in that atmosphere on the moon. Well, that's what you've done here. In order to come to Earth, you put on these Earth suits so that you can, you know, communicate with other people in Earth suits and you can survive here. But the reality is you are not your body. And we are turning this dense matter, as our consciousness rays, this dense matter is being alchemy. Alchemy is really about, like I said, turning matter back into spirit. And we're the ones that are really waking up to that. So the purpose of man is to rebirth our divinity. And through accessing the knowledge that lies in our unconsciousness, as we are ready, Christ said this, he said, I go to prepare a place for you. Well, we always thought he went to heaven. How many of us, that's probably what Alan's brother's saying today. You know, Christ went up to heaven to prepare a place for you. But where's the place? Where is that place that Christ was talking about? Because Christ is not a person. Christ is a principle. It's a cosmic, eternal, infinite principle. So where is this place that Christ went to prepare for us? When he said the celestial equivalent of the unconscious mind, what has been prepared for us is a place within our unconscious mind where our higher states of consciousness that we can come into contact with and contact our cosmic Christ. That's the place that's been prepared for every one of us before we even came here. You know, it says Christ was crucified before the foundation of the world. So that place within you was prepared before the foundation of the world, that you, as you tap into that unconsciousness, can begin to meet your Christ consciousness, your cosmic Christ, your divine energy, and really bring that to life inside every human being. Every human being, I don't care religion, race, nationality, whether we think they're good or evil, doesn't matter, because within every human being is a portion of our unconscious that has a Christ consciousness, which is that consciousness of oneness, which is that consciousness of pure health, all relationships, oneness, peace, harmony, unity, no death, within every human being. And it's sealed within our deepest level of our being, just like the seed is sealed in the earth in this time of year. In Easter pictures the time we can roll that stone away and access the unconscious. You know, Christ was crucified in a place called Golgotha, and which means place of the skull. And that's where we are being crucified. That this mind, that we can go deeper into that unconscious and really meet that cosmic Christ that really will bring a difference in our life as we do. So Easter pictures that time of the year we roll that stone away and we begin to access that unconsciousness. And then we can release the Christ and allow it to flow from us. So Easter is all about you. All about you. All about this cosmic event that is taking place all over the world right now, that really brings us to the point to know that the heavens are really showing us who we are. And that annually we can celebrate that time when that stone is rolled away. And that Christ energy, that Christ life can begin to flow out from our being. It says, out of our belly will flow living waters. And that is really, what is that picture? It really pictures the age of Aquarius. And that's what I wanted to do this morning. I thought, we have entered into that age of Aquarius. You know, Pisces was the fish, which was also a water sign. Yet we came out of the ram and all of that into the water sign. And Jesus said this, he said, I'll be with you till the end of the age. And I believe what he was talking about, the Jesus part, was the end of the age of Pisces. Because as we enter Aquarius, we know we are the water bearers. We're the one that has that living water that flows out of our belly. So what I thought we would do this morning, to just, I think sometimes rituals really make us come to know who we are. We have these communion little cups, but we fill them with water, and we just bless them this morning. That they just hold that energy of the Piscean age. That as we drink this morning, that we really drink in that Piscean age. That we have come to the end of a 26,000-year cycle where people were looking outside of themselves. They were following Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and all of these outside gurus and masters. But we've come to the time where we're going inside. And we're knowing that that water of life is inside of us. And we don't need an outside guru any longer. What we need is to really go inside and touch that cosmic Christ, that cosmic Buddha, that cosmic consciousness that is all in all. And that really is the solution of the world. So I thought this morning what we would do was Mark is going to play a little music, and if you would just close your eyes for a moment. And I think what Spirit wants us to know this morning is that we are the people that really have passed over. We are the people that really are celebrating a Passover. First of all, we have passed over from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. And second of all, we are passing over from death to life. We are in the age where that water within us is to be poured out on all humanity. That age where we can go up to that upper room that has always been prepared for us, which is our higher consciousness, that holds all the answers, that holds multi-dimensional levels of being that we can be in simultaneously, that holds perfect health, that holds the place where we can harmonize with the spheres of the universe. And it holds the very being of our divine nature. And so this morning, what I'd like for you to do is just, we're going to dim the lights too. If Cheryl would dim the lights, and we're going to play. Just come up and get this water. This Aquarian, it just represents the Aquarian age that we are. And this water is full of life. It's full of the vertical rays of the sun that are going to activate within you that remembrance in your unconsciousness of who you are. And then I also have a little candle, and you can just light your light, a remembrance of who you are, and you can put it over there with the other lights. But just go inside a moment and just see yourself as that water of life. Just see yourself as this cosmic energy that's here today to celebrate liberation. You are not your body. You are an infinite spark of the divine intelligence of the whole cosmos that's come here to experience. But this morning, we're celebrating the liberation back into that celestial light of infinite source that has no limitations. And so if you just want to start this morning, whoever wants to come up and just take their water and drink it and light their candle, we'll just do that this morning.
In the light of love, the light of love, we are home, the light of love. We hear